And we are live streaming. So,
Excellent.
hello, everybody. Welcome to Monday night with Ellen Wynn's team and my team, and which is part of Ellen's team. But yeah, we are here every Monday night with some exceptions, very few. But this is designed for you guys to get some information and to have an opportunity to ask questions. But my name is Harlequin Murray. I am your co-host, as I am every Monday night. And I get to introduce my friend Ellen, who I've known for about 20 years now, which seems insanely crazy that it's been that long. But for those of you who are here for the first time, welcome. We're excited to see you and looking forward to getting to know you. But if you don't know about Ellen, I'm just going to give you a little short, brief thing and not go into all the details. But she lives in just outside of Atlanta, Georgia, in a town called Dallas, not Texas. But anyway, she has been with DAC for 7.5 years now. I've been with DAC for 6.5, which sounds crazy. But anyway, she's got a strong background in business ownership, management. She's owned a couple of restaurants. She currently owns a limousine company and an insurance agency, in addition to her DAC business. And so she is insanely busy. She can outwork just about anybody I know of. So it's impossible to keep up with her. But anyway, she's got a ton of experience and is able to help us learn. And she's great at creating systems. That's why you all got emails today. And if you didn't get an email, it's probably because you haven't opened them for quite a while and you need to get back on her email list. So, anyways, without further ado, Miss Ellen, I figured I'd make it a little bit different today.
Yeah, good deal. Thank you, Harlequin. I appreciate that. And yeah, so if you don't open my emails, I go in and clear out my list. So anybody that hasn't opened my emails in the last 30 days, I delete them and kick them off because those folks are affecting the deliverability of emails to everyone. So yeah, make sure you're opening my emails. Even if you don't have time to read it, open it. You can put it back in your unread folder, but the system will recognize that you had opened it there at least once. So we'll keep you in the system. So thank you very much. Glad that you've been here 6.5 years. Yeah, 7.5 years. It just flies by. DAC gets better and better. We've come a long way since we first got started here. DAC is 10 and a half, 10 years old. And boy, they've really come a long way. So you're here at a great time. You're here in a time of growth and development and innovation with DAC. And every year you'll see changes along the way that get us to a better final end product for our consumers and also a better opportunity for our DAC brokers. So glad you're here tonight, whether you're watching us live or whether you're here on the replay. We appreciate you taking a few minutes out of your day to join us on our team Zoom. So I'm going to get us over to screen share mode real quick and go through a few slides that I put together, and then we're going to change things up and go into our presentation a little bit differently than we have been. So I want to start out congratulating our top recruiters for the week of 12/1 through 12/7. To actually have your name displayed here, you had to have 2 or more recruits. And again, no one had 2 or more recruits. So we had quite a few people in the team who had one person recruited. Congratulations to those of you that had a new broker join your team during this week, but nobody made it to the leaderboard by name as a top recruiter. So we'll move on to the next slide and recognize our folks who have gotten started and also completed training within their first 7 days. The folks that we hadn't recognized this week are Rontavius Dixon and Taniki Riddick. So congratulations to them getting started. I'm finding every week. The sooner someone gets started and gets their certification out of the way, the more likely they are to get that completed. Once people have started and they're here for 2 or 3 weeks, I'm seeing that it's very rare that they're going back and getting certification done unless they're out there marketing their links where they don't know the whole story about DAC, and then all of a sudden they're in a mad dash scramble trying to get themselves certified before the commission gets paid, and they miss out on 30% that they're going to miss if they don't get certified. So I see that from time to time, and it's unfortunate that people aren't just going ahead and getting it out of the way. But that's the way it is. But I encourage you guys, if you're on here tonight and you've not gone through certification, take 2.5 hours, take 3 hours, do whatever it takes to get that certification completed. Not only for your benefit and the benefit of you marketing, but also for the benefit of people that you might potentially talk to, so that you're presenting the correct information and you're setting proper expectations with your potential clients. And it really protects the branding of DAC, because if we've got people out here misrepresenting our company and misrepresenting how our service works and misrepresenting what our funding can do and who's qualified and how much they can get, then it makes us all look bad as a brand. So encourage your team to get certified, get certified, get certified. Okay. Next thing is a reminder of our weekly call schedule, and that is Monday through Friday every week at 11:30 Eastern time. We have a 10-minute huddle. It starts at 11:25, opening up the lines. People can chime in, state where they're coming in from. And also, we have started in that 5 minutes before we actually start streaming live on YouTube, that 11:25 to 11:30 slot. We want people to be coming in and saying what they got accomplished from the day before, the previous huddle, on the charge that was given by whoever the quarterback was on that previous huddle. Like today, David Rutz was our quarterback on the huddle. We have this sports theme going on with the huddles, right? And David was the quarterback, meaning he was the one leading the huddle today. And his charge was for us to go out and email 2 banks sharing the brochure in our broker resource center. He wanted us to send those emails out, communicating with local bankers. And specifically, you should be contacting the person that's in charge of the commercial lending for that bank. That's what the banks call it. They call it commercial lending, not business funding. We talk about it as business funding because we don't really do, they're not specifically loans, they're advances. So we call it business funding to keep our brokers out of hot water for misrepresenting what we do. But when you're looking for that banker, you want to talk to the person that does commercial lending. If you heard the huddle that I did last week, I talked about how I'm using commercial lending in my sales pitch. When I have an opportunity to tell people what I do, I'll say, "Hey, my name is Ellen Winn. I'm in business funding or alternative commercial lending," so that they hear, if it's business funding that catches their ear, great. If not, commercial lending, which is a more common term in the banking space, will catch their ear. Okay. So that was the charge for today. I hope you did that. But if you're there, come on in and shout out what you did. And then at 11:30 sharp, we do the 10-minute huddle led by whoever the quarterback is for the day. It's going to be changed up every day this week. So come along and see who's going to be here tomorrow. And then as soon as that 10-minute huddle is over, then we're going into Q&A and examples by people that are on there live. So the call typically goes about 30 minutes, even though we say it's a 10-minute huddle. The huddle itself is just 10 minutes, but it's typically about a 30-minute call until we get to our Friday Zoom, which is the huddle followed by our broker updates. And then that one can go on indefinitely. It gives people an opportunity to ask questions. And hey, if you're in a hurry and you're dropping off, you're probably missing some golden nuggets along the way, because every day I listen to these stories. It's great inspiration, great motivation for somebody that's trying to figure out how to get this going, and just listening to other people and what they're doing to get things moving. It can really be helpful for you. Okay. So that ends my slideshow, and let me get us off a screen share. And we'll go to the next part of our presentation. So every week before these team Zooms, Harlequin will call me at some point late in the day and she'll say, okay, what are we talking about tonight? And we go through this conversation of what I've got in mind. And I always ask, does she have something in mind? And today she's like, I've got something that I really think would be helpful to people. So we're changing it up a little bit. You heard Harlequin at the beginning of our Zoom opening things up, but I'm going to turn the tables on her and introduce Harlequin. Harlequin and I have known each other for 20 years. We met through a direct selling company or a network marketing company. I was a partner in a training facility. I was one of 5 leaders with a network marketing company that was based out of Louisville, Kentucky. We opened our own training center here in the Atlanta, Georgia area, and 5 of us partnered up, signed off on that lease, and we guaranteed that that lease would get paid every month. Well, for us to operate that facility, we charged membership fees for people to come into the facility and take advantage of the presentations and trainings that we were doing. We also did office rents. People could rent a hard wall office where they had solid 4 walls and a door, or they could get a lower rent and rent out cubicle space. And we had all of our office space rented out. We had a large group of people that were participating as members, and we were literally training hundreds of people a week through that training facility. Well, one day, Harlequin walked in with one of our training center members. She was invited as a guest to see the opportunity that we were working. And I was introduced to her as you would do anytime you've got an opportunity to introduce a prospect to a leader. You want to take advantage of that opportunity. And the gentleman that brought her in certainly made his way over to me, made the introduction. I welcomed her on, and I kept seeing her face showing up week after week after week. And we got to know each other in the beginning, and we've been in several different companies together over a 20-year period. DAC has been our longest run together, and I'm real excited to have her here as a friend and as the team leader of one of the largest teams inside of my agency here at DAC. So Harlequin's got some information she'd like to share tonight, so I'm going to turn it back over to you, Miss Harlequin Murray.
Thank you, Ellen. I appreciate that. And oddly enough, Andrew posted something on LinkedIn today that I replied to and I shared, and he's the person who introduced me to you. So,
I remember that.
yep. So, and I hadn't seen or heard from him in a while. So, just things come around, and what goes around comes around. But, anyways, today I wanted to talk about a challenge that I have for everybody. Normally during the holidays, people start getting into the mode of, oh, we're going to spend family time. We're not, getting more and more away from business. And by doing so, that sets you up so that in January, when everybody's all new and fresh and they want to get the new year going and meet all their New Year's resolutions, they pretty much have to restart their momentum. So, what I would like to challenge everybody to do is between now and if you can do it by next Monday, if not, we'll give you till Christmas to reach out to a total of 100 people. I know that number sounds big, but it's not really. You can, if you do 10 people a day, you know, even if you miss a day or two, you can still get it done by Christmas. But you don't necessarily have to go and talk about business. I would actually not recommend that right now. Um, Unless it's somebody that you already know, that you've had conversations with recently about business, whether it's a potential client or a potential broker. You can go ahead and start that conversation. But just to start off, just tell them, hey, how are you doing? Happy holidays. I'd love to chat with you. If you have time before the holidays, great. If not, let's touch base the first of the year. And I want to catch up with you. One thing I will recommend to you is don't just go and send a message, hey, how are you doing? Haven't heard from you in a while. Add your name to it. Because right now, I don't know if anybody else is getting hit with this, but I am getting inundated with spam text messages where people are going and saying, oh, hey, are we still meeting for dinner? And it's a spammer. And the key thing is they're not in your phone, and you don't want to assume that somebody that you haven't talked to in a while still has you saved in their phone or email. Yeah, email is a little bit different, but if you're text messaging them, that's the easiest way to do it. Um, but you don't want to assume that they also saved your number in their phone. So make sure you put your name at the end so that they know who you are. Um, yeah, Ray, it is getting bold. I mean, some of the things that I have been getting lately are crazy. Um, sometimes they're pretending like they're a business and, oh, hey, I have that dress that you ordered, or the dress that you had me alter for your wedding. I mean, crazy stuff. And it's like, hey, no, you got the wrong number and they've got you. But anyways, there's all sorts of different ways that you can reach out to them. You can text message them, you can email, you can go onto Facebook or LinkedIn. Um, for business, I love LinkedIn. For that challenge that David had today about reaching out to two bankers, I went on to LinkedIn. Posted this on Facebook, and literally the first post on my LinkedIn page was someone saying that they just got hired at a bank. And then about 10 more down from that was another friend of mine who was posting about how she was excited about being or working with a nonprofit and that her bank was also supporting that work. And so it gave me a great lead in for both of those. One, congratulations on the new job. I'd love to talk to you because he lives in a town that's a little bit further out, and I don't know any bankers in that town. So I'm going, asked him to reach out to me when he got settled, and that way I can go and find out more about him so that I can refer people to him. The other banker, it's a small bank. And I was just like, hey, I'd like to find out more about your bank, what you guys focus on, because it's labeled as a craft bank, which I don't know really what that means. So, and also the nonprofit that she was working with is one that I think is phenomenal. So it can be anything as simple as just saying hello or hey, I was thinking about you, or I hope you guys are going to have a great holiday season. And it doesn't have to be rocket science, people. But if you go and reach out to those people, and then once you start a conversation with them, that's when you can go and say, hey, what are you up to these days? Especially if it's somebody you haven't talked to in a while. What are you doing work-wise? What are you doing, life-wise, whatever. And if you ask them that question, they're typically going to ask you that question back. And that's when you can go and say, hey, I'm working with this great new company called David Allen Capital, and I'm a certified funding broker. People love to hear that you're certified. But and I work with small business owners to help them expand and grow. If you ever run across anybody who's looking for money to expand or grow their business, please send them my way. And it doesn't have to be this, going into all this detail and, hey, you want to get away from being stuck. on what to say. Just let it flow like you would talk to anybody about anything. Just because you're in the end, you may want to bring up business. It doesn't have to be a whole business presentation to somebody, especially at the beginning. So, anyways, but if we can, everybody try and reach out to 10 people. The other thing that I would recommend for those of you who are on the Zoom tonight, invite one of your team members next week so we can get the numbers up. Because now is when people are wanting to make some extra money, you know, holidays and, especially next month, they're going to want to have money to pay for all of their Christmas bills. And if you start off that process now, you're going to be much further along and you'll have more results at the beginning of January rather than waiting until the end of the month, which is, it takes about 4 to 6 weeks to get going again once you have to restart everything. But reaching out to 100 people will jumpstart that tremendously.
Absolutely.
But anyways, that's what I had for today.
Awesome. Thank you, Harlequin. And we're going to open up here for questions or comments. If anyone has that, you can raise your hand with the virtual react down at the bottom of the screen. But one thing that you mentioned, Harlequin, was inviting a team member. That took me back to the conversation we opened up with about the training center. Okay. I had the good fortune of working with some excellent mentors in my network marketing experience. From the folks that I was partnered with there at the training center, they were $1 million earners in the network marketing space. I had a couple of other mentors that actually lived with me for a couple of years. They're my friends. They live down in Florida. They're retired from everything these days, but I learned so much getting to spend quality time with people that have had tremendous success in network marketing. And I'm talking about network marketing. DAC, our model was kind of a network marketing. We're kind of a hybrid. We have that network marketing team building aspect, but we're more like an insurance brokerage where you're getting paid the commission levels like you do with an insurance brokerage, and you don't have to have 3 people of this level and 5 people of this level to move to the next rank for yourself. It's really just on your personal production. But network marketing was a great training ground for me, learning how to build teams. But Harlequin, your comment on reaching out to your team and inviting them, one of the things I learned and why I do communication the way I do in bulk emails and stuff is that couple that I learned so much from. Their name were Skip and Doris Lewis, and they were great communicators. Skip would sit down and he would write an email out and telling everybody what was going on. We didn't have Zoom meetings back then. It was either here's a summary by email or you needed to show up in person at the training center to get the scoop and to go through the training, right? But he over communicated to people. But as a leader within his and her organization, I was emulating what they were doing. And that's what I encourage you guys to do. So when you see me send something out, do what I used to do when I was coming up in this industry. And that was, I didn't assume that they saw Skip and Doris's email. I reached out to people. I'd send them, back then it wasn't so much a text message, but I would pick up the phone and call. I would call some of the key people in my team and I'd say, hey, I just want to make sure you saw the meeting announcement that Skip just emailed out. So I would make a call to like 5 or 6 key people in my organization, and they would say, yeah, I saw it. And I'm like, okay, get on the phone, make sure you reach out to your team and communicate that. So it was a top down, build out approach, and not just people popping in and showing up for a Zoom. We were physically reaching out, personally reaching out, having phone conversations. You can do it by text today, whatever works for you, but don't just, and I wouldn't say email because they're already getting an email from me. Give them a different level of touch, and that would be either a phone call or a text message. But communicate with your team and let them know, hey, I'm going to these meetings. I've been going to the huddle, or I'm going to the team meeting on Monday nights. Are you plugging in? You can see who on your team is here or not, and you know who those people are. So if there's somebody on your team that you wish would participate in this, it's up to you to reach out to them because you're the one that's closer to them in the organization. You're the one that would have that relationship. I know a lot of people in our group, but honestly, I know the people that show up on here and ask questions, and I know the people in the team who are producing because I see the commissions coming across, and those are the people that get my attention, ones that are doing stuff. Otherwise, most people in the organization are just a name and an ID number in the system until there has been a reason, them showing up, having conversations, or
Raising
producing
their hand.
a reason to say, "Hey, I'm here," or they're constantly working, and I know that they're presenting and getting customers on the phone because I'm involved in some of those three-way calls, helping answer questions along the way. So, thank you, Harlequin. Good job presenting that information. Anybody have questions or comments before we wrap up tonight? I see Ray's got a hand up. Ray, I'm going to ask you to unmute.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening, Ellen.
Good evening.
Okay, I have several questions. So I know earlier I was listening to the huddle that they talked about doing the 2 by 3 p.m. in regards to contacting, banks and credit unions. So I noticed in the back office after I got off the huddle, there's only like one flyer where it talks about do we um the DAC banking flyer where it says when you have to say no. Is that the only flyer that we use to
It
contact
is.
the banks?
It is. And he said send that flyer. It could be a web page link. But a flyer is something that they can print out and have in front of them. And that's really what you want to do is have a deliverable there in your message, something that they can go, oh, this is great information. Let me print it out and put it in my file. So the next time they've got someone in front of them, they can put their hands on something to deliver to that person.
Okay. And then another thing I wanted to mention too, because I know you mentioned earlier about, communicating with bankers, the branch manager. Now I know a lot of businesses sometimes have a sign that says no soliciting. So how do you approach the banker in a ways that it doesn't seem like you're soliciting? Do you just go ahead and go inside and just say I would like to
Yeah.
speak to the banker or
Yeah, so a couple things on that. One, I'm doing this with people that I have relationships with, people that I've met at chamber meetings and other network meetings because there's always a banker of some sort if you're
Mhm.
going to the right networking meetings, right? But as far as just walking into a local bank, you're not soliciting, you're not trying to sell them anything. So if you take the approach like we do with business owners, where you're walking in and they're saying, "Hey, can I help you?" And you just say, "Yeah, I want to talk to your commercial lender." Um, and if they say, "Well, is there something that I can help you with?" Say, "No, I just want to introduce myself. We're in the same industry, and I wanted to talk to them about what your qualifications are in case there's someone that I can't help that I can send to you." And they'll do that introduction. So you just do that. "Hey, I want to introduce myself. I live locally and I'm in the funding space, but I'm not your competitor. I'm a helper. I'm in the space of those folks that you can't help. So I'd like to introduce myself. In the event that you ever have someone that you can't help, maybe we could be a great resource. By the way, what is it that you're currently doing with your turndowns?" And get that conversation started, right? Because when you ask a business, a commercial lender what they do with their turndowns, most of the time they're going to say, we end up telling them we can't help them, or we've got one lender that we direct them to, like an on
Mhm.
deck or
Mhm.
someone, right? Well, we've heard David say time and time again that if they're applying to one lender, unless it's a Bank Breezy platform where we're connected with over 20 lenders, if they're applying to just one lender and that's their only resource, that one lender may not be right for that person based on their revenue, or that person based on their credit score, or that person based on what industry they're in, right? And we've got a solution that covers all of those gamuts with our Bank Breezy platform.
Okay.
And
And
if I can add something to that,
go
because I've
ahead.
I've
Sure.
gone and walked into several different banks that I didn't know anybody in there. And some banks, they're going to tell you flat out, we're not allowed to refer anybody to. I had one where she was like, I can't refer anybody for any reason whatsoever. I've gone into some banks, into one branch, and I was told, oh, yeah, I'd love to be able to do that. I've walked into another bank or same bank, but different branch. And some of the people are licensed for, um, you know, they've got their license to go and sell stuff on the stock market and stuff. Those people cannot refer people because of their license. So it
Mm-hmm.
just depends upon who you talk to in the bank.
Okay.
And some of the bigger banks, they don't have a commercial lender in that in each individual branch. They have one person and they cover like 5 or 6 branches.
Okay.
So sometimes they may or may not be in that particular location. So in that case, I would ask for someone who works with the commercial bank accounts or the business checking accounts.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I actually, well, when he mentioned that, I thought about a branch manager who I have been communicating with over the summer when I purchased my new vehicle, and she was very helpful. And when he was talking about that, that's the first person that came to my mind. Is like, yeah, I can talk to her, but I didn't know how to go out, as far as how I would approach that because I haven't spoken to her since I bought my vehicle, but I still have her email from when she, was exchanging communication with me via email.
I got
So,
something for you on that one, Ray. So this is not specifically at you, Ray. This is just for anybody that's listening, okay? So when you go back to that person that has looked at your finances, right? They know what your financial income is. If it's not the financial picture that you would like to portray yourself as a DAC broker, you can always say, I just have gotten started, right? With a company. So that takes the pressure off of you having to show that you've been producing as a
mhm.
certified broker here with DAC. That being new is always a way. Like I said, not trying to point that at you, but that
Oh
just
no,
triggered that triggered that thought for other people on here that are going, yeah, I got a local banker, but I got turned down because of my financials are crap.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, but reach back out to them and just say, hey, don't know if you remember me or not. You helped me with my auto loan. I just wanted to share some information with you. I've started working with a company that does alternative lending and make it short and sweet, or maybe just see if you can get them on the phone because a phone call will be a lot better than an email. I find
True.
that, if they're like me, which I'm sure they are, you're getting hundreds of emails a day and really just
Mhm.
having to pick and choose what you read through. And I read the first couple of lines of something from most emails that I get, and I can determine whether I'm going to spend time reading it. If it's a long email, if it's a short 1 or 2 sentence email, I'm going to read it and I'll respond to it. But if it's long, I'll read the first line or two and I'm going, this is too much information. I'm saving it for later to come back to at a later time and then typically don't get back to it. So be brief. Be
So
brief.
what should I use in my subject line? Because I was going to attach the flyer that's in the back office.
Yeah, say, don't know if you were, or you helped me with my loan. Put something in there that she'll relate to. He or
Okay.
she will relate to. You helped me with my loan, and then opening line. Don't know if you remember me or not, but you helped me back in whatever month that was. I appreciate
Hmm.
your help. I'm enjoying my new car. Whatever, something that brings value back to what they helped you with. I
Hmm.
wanted to return the favor and see if I can help you in the future. If you ever have clients that here's what I'm doing, if you have clients that you can't help, there's a good chance that we can. We're connected with over 20 of the top lenders in the alternative capital space. And just again, be brief on that, but that would be your introduction is warm and fuzzy, here, she's going to open this because she'll see that you're an existing client. If you said you helped me with my loan or with my purchase my car, that'll get her to open it.
Okay, and I got one more last question for the evening, Ellen. So I know you mentioned the two people who joined, and I actually had someone Sunday before last sign up under me, and I don't know how far down you can see in your downline, but I had someone sign up Sunday before last. I did try to reach out to them. As a matter of fact, I even told them about the huddle and this evening's call, but I have not heard anything from them. And so since I have two people, which I do, but another person signed up in 2024, but they've been inactive. So would that still be considered? Would that still be considered one person that I have now that this other person is inactive? That's what I wanted to know.
Yeah, when you're looking at your team, you want to consider who's active, still active, and has renewed their business. Let's see, you were talking about the people that had new people start but didn't have two to get their name recognized on there.
Well, I have two. One of them is one started in 2024. I only had one at the time.
I got you.
But they haven't. I haven't communicated with them. They haven't done anything. So
Yeah.
I look at my back office and I can see that it's showing inactive. Then I have a person who recently signed up under me. That was 2 Sundays ago. So I didn't know that even though the other person is inactive, because it's still showing in there in my genealogy, and that person, would there still be considered two people, or will it still be now considered just one because the other one is inactive? If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, if one is inactive, you've got one person in your team. This
Okay.
person that just recently started. And I may not be understanding your question, but based on what I think you're talking about the recruiting, two or more people to
Yeah, the
be
recruiting.
yeah. Well, that is in that specific week. So those people you'd have to have two recruits during that time frame, that snapshot, that 1 week time frame from last Monday through Sunday, right?
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, because
I didn't know how far. I didn't know how far you can see
no,
down.
I see everybody in my organization, every single person. I can see them in my team, who they were sponsored by. I see whether they have completed certification or not. I can see the last time that they logged into their back office. So, yeah, and you can see that too on your team.
Yes.
Whatever details you can see on your team, I can see that on my entire team.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
Dozens of levels deep in my team. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Because when Holika mentioned about the challenge, I'd already, like, okay, well, I've already communicated with this person, but I haven't heard anything. So I guess I'm only going to, just give them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe they're just busy. So.
Exactly. And, the old adage of you can lead a horse to drink, but you can't make them, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink is 100% true. And, a lot of times I find that people will sign up in DAC because it's exciting. If you watch the presentation and you listen to the opportunity that's in front of you and how much money can be made here, people are going, man, that sounds good. It's free. I'm going to sign up. And then they never even go open their welcome letter. So just because they signed up doesn't mean that you have someone that's ready to get started with DAC. And in my opinion, they're really not ready to get started until they've at least started the certification, but really completed the certification. I have new people as I add every day. I add the new people that have come into the team. I add them to my email list. So they're starting to get my series. They're getting my reminder emails and all that. Just that encouragement to participate. And we're busy, so that reminder is like, oh yeah, I forgot. I need to add that to my calendar. I send those out, and I'll have people respond back, start asking questions. And I'll answer one or two questions in any email. But once I'm getting more than that, or a text message with lots of questions, first thing I'm doing is looking them up in my team, seeing what their ID is, looking them up by name or ID number, and seeing if they've gone through certification. And if they've not gone through certification, I'm redirecting them back to the training and saying, hey, I appreciate your questions, but though all your questions are really answered in our certification, and
Mhm.
I'll cut off the back and forth on me giving answers because I spend hours a week going through and making sure that I'm on top of the latest, greatest news of DAC. And for
Yes.
someone to not be willing to take 3 hours and go through the certification training, I don't have a lot of time for
I
that person.
understand. Oh yeah, I understand because when they first signed up Sunday before last, I immediately contacted them. I didn't call them like that Sunday evening, but I'd say, okay, I'll wait until tomorrow because it was getting later in the evening when I first seen it. And so they text me back and they was like, well, um, I'm gonna review everything. And I said, okay, that's fine because I like the fact that someone will review. I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with asking a whole lot of questions, but I think a lot of times a lot of questions are already on the site in the back office and everything like that. So I said, well, if you have any additional questions, I would do my best to answer them. And if it can't be answered, we have support. So, I'm not trying to be the super know-it-all, but if I'm not able to answer, I'm going to, at least try to help or, go to support. That's what I said. But I never
Yeah.
heard any more from them since then. So,
And let me put something else in there too, Ray. Who's your direct upline? Are they active in DAC?
well, if you don't remember Sharice Thomas, she was my upline. She came in on,
Yeah,
uh,
but is she still active in DAC? I don't know that
um,
name, so.
yeah, I think I remember because you might not remember. She passed away,
Oh
unfortunately,
yeah, I
2 years
remember
ago.
that conversation now. I
Yeah,
remember that
she
conversation. Yes, yes.
passed
I
away
apologize. I'm
unexpectedly.
sorry. I remember that.
Yeah,
But you're in my team, right?
yes, ma'am, I am.
Okay. And if there's no one between me and you that is actively building DAC, what I suggest is when you have someone, instead of sending them to support, if they've got questions that you can't help with, say, hey, let me see if I can get Miss Ellen on the phone
Okay.
and or text message and include me in the conversation with your broker that has questions. One, it keeps support questions for what support really needs to be doing, and that's helping do technical things in the background that you and I can't do, like doing name change updates and specific product related questions or website issues that might be going on. But if it's
Mhm.
general building the business, if you will do that, and again, not directed just at you, Ray, but as an example for everybody on here that's listening to this, if
Yes.
you'll use that 3-way call and get me involved in the conversation, it'll be a great learning experience for you and your new broker, right?
Okay.
Because now we're all involved in the conversation, you're getting the same message, and it's honestly 3-way calls is the most underused tool that this team has. I very seldom get calls from a broker and asking me to be introduced to a new broker or getting me on the phone with a client or another broker that's looking at the opportunity and has some questions. You guys, you're not using 3-way calls, and I know that's something we don't talk about on a regular basis, but if you would do that, I've built my entire business with every company that I've ever been involved with by doing 3-way calls. I would get somebody, when I was inviting someone to look at the business, I would do my spiel on, hey, I've got something came across my desk that I'm really excited about. Do you have a few minutes to check this out? Are you open to taking a look at it? Are you open to making money outside of what you're currently doing? Right? What
Mhm.
I teach now. And if they said, yeah, what you got, Ellen? I'll say, listen, I'm going to send you a short video. It may or may not be a good fit for you, but you'll know in just a matter of minutes. And then once you've watched the video, let's get your questions answered. Okay, how soon can you watch the video? We're going to watch it right now. Okay, great. Can I call you back in 15 minutes and will you have had time to watch it then? Yeah, I'll do that call back, or I'll have them call me back as soon as the video is over. And then while that person is watching the video, I'm on the phone with my upline and I'm going, hey, I've got somebody watching the video right now. Will you be available in 15 minutes to answer any questions if they have questions? My upline saying, yeah, I'll be available. And I'm like, okay, look out for my call. Boom, here they go. They've watched the call. They're calling me back and they're going, this looks pretty good, Ellen, but how does this work? And I'm going, that's a great question, but I'm really new and I don't want to give you any wrong information. So hang on just a minute. I want to introduce you to the person that I'm working directly with. They're a top leader in the company, and let me see if they're available to answer those questions. Hang on. Put them on hold. Three-way over to the upline leader. Upline leader answers the phone. I'm going, hey, is now still a good time? I've got Harlequin on the line. She just watched the video and she's got some questions. Upline leader says, yeah, how do you know Harlequin? Well, Harlequin and I have done a few businesses before. She's real sharp, she's real professional, and she's interested in what we've got. Okay, great. Well, connect me. Now, I got Harlequin on the phone. Okay, Harlequin, I want to introduce you to Doris Lewis. Doris and her husband Skip have been they're $1 million earners in this industry. They're the ones that introduced me to this company, and they know all the answers. They work directly with the top leadership every day. So I'm going to let you ask your questions to Doris, and I'm going to shut up and back out of the call. Then I'm doing that. I'm muting
Okay.
myself. I'm listening, and I'm sitting back taking notes
Okay.
while the prospect asks a question, upline answers. I'm sitting back taking notes, and I'm going, okay, I got this. After doing a three-way call for a few times, then I'm going, I don't need them anymore. I'm going to be the three-way call person that my team is going to come to because I know all those answers now, right?
Yeah.
And you pass it on and you build, and it creates synergy and energy. And it's a beautiful way to build a business. So, how about
Yeah.
that little three-way call training there, Harlan?
Yeah, I appreciate. Oh wow, I appreciate that,
That's the
Ellen.
way
And
it
you know
goes,
what?
right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
and you
that's
know what? You did good. That was really good. I guess too. I know that you have your limousine business on the side, and I just didn't. Like I know you're available because I think one time before I had emailed you on one of the huddles and everything. So being that you had your other business, I'm like, okay, what's the best time to ever reach her? Because I don't want to just pick up a phone and call, and she might be, taking care of whatever business that she's doing with something else. So I don't want to make that an excuse, but at the same time, I also want to, you know that you have other things going on. So like, when is always a good time? Like if I do ever have to get in that situation, I can say, well, let me contact Ellen and
Yep.
put you on for
Whenever that time comes up, you just send me a text and you say, hey, Ellen, this is Ray. I've got such and such going on. Do you have a minute? And it might be something that I can answer by text, or it might
Mm-hmm.
be something that we need to do on the phone. But whenever that opportunity arises, just go ahead and send me a text because
Okay.
I'm watching out for my phone. As far as my limo business goes, I'm a home-based operator for the most part with my
Okay.
limo business. I'm
Okay.
here dispatching and communicating with customers, which are a lot of text messages. For the most part, I still have some clients that I go out and meet and greet. In fact, over the past few days here with the holiday, I had family members here locally that had family members from out of town flying in that I haven't seen some of them in years. And guys, these are people that I've known their kids since they were in car seats. And now they're like 13, 14, 15 years old, right? So
Wow.
they've been in my business life for a long time. So I went out meeting and greeting customers and just touching base with them. They're like, oh my God, Ellen's driving us today. Or, oh my God, we got the boss. How did this happen? So they're surprised when they see me, but I'm doing it because I want to, not because I have to, because I've certainly got drivers that could go pick them up and do what they do for me every day. But I love getting out there and just touching base and staying in contact with those families that have really been a huge blessing to me over the years. I mean, that limo business got me in a position that I've never been in financially in my life. And that's helped me have the freedom to do DAC and now have an insurance agency because that core income, steady six-figure income from a traditional business, and it's been a wild ride, much crazier than I could have ever imagined. So
Yeah.
staying
Well,
in touch.
thank you so much, Ellen, and thank you, Harlequin, for the tips and the information. It was really
if
good.
I
I
You
appreciate it.
bet.
Yeah, if I can add a couple of things. One, Ellen, if she's with a client and she's not available, a lot of times she'll send me a message to see if I can help out and do the three-way call for her. And what I tell my team members is if you call and I don't answer, send me a text message and say, hey, I have a potential client or a potential broker on the line. Can you make yourself available? And I will usually I can at least text back and say, yes, I can. Give me a minute to, like if I'm in a space where, say I'm at a big networking thing and it's like at a bar or a restaurant, I can step out and take the call. Or if I can't, I can say, hey, I can't right now, but I'll be available in half hour to an hour
Okay.
or
There you
something
go.
like that. The other thing that I wanted, you were talking about your inactive person. Um, when somebody doesn't renew by their renewal date, they are listed as inactive for 6 months and then they are listed as canceled. They'll still be in your back office. It will just be listed as canceled. But the other thing on your new person that just got started, I've had this happen where somebody got started, they were, checking everything out. Sometimes they'll forget and they get busy with other things and they don't go back to it. But I've had somebody be hospitalized right after they signed up and
Oh wow.
they were in the hospital for 2 or 3 weeks. So you never know what's happening in somebody's life. And
True.
like I was talking to somebody, actually, Coach Ellen, I was talking to him. He had told me to call him at 4 o'clock. I did. He was still out doing something else. He's like, I'll be home in half an hour. I'll give you a call back. Well, by about 5:15, I'm like, he hasn't called me back. So this is somebody I've known for 6 years now. I sent him a message and said, hey, did you forget about me? LOL. And in that half hour time period from when I spoke to him until he was planning on being home, his father passed away.
Oh
Mm.
no.
So you never know what's going to happen.
True.
And so just have compassion sometimes. And yes, sometimes people are going to be like, oh, yeah, I looked into it and that's not for me. And you can send them a message and say, hey, have you had a chance to check it out?
Yes, which I did.
And, if this is for you, great. I'd love to get back together with you. If it's not for you, just let me know and I won't bother you anymore.
Yeah, and in regards to the inactive, and I'm gonna, finish this. I looked in my back office, and the person that's inactive is showing them as referral partner. So it switched them.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, whenever you're listed as inactive, it goes back to referral partner.
Mm-hmm.
They're not eligible for commissions right now until
Okay.
they renew.
Okay. All right.
That's
And
right.
they're actually listed as referral partner because remember we didn't start certification until the beginning
Right.
of August or
Uh-huh.
July, and your certification date now becomes your renewal date.
Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, they were still going by their original renewal date.
Okay. Okay.
Gotcha. All right.
Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Ray. We've got another hand up. I've got David Osborne. Hey, David, how are you?
Hello, Ellen. Hello, Harlequin. Thank you so much for the information. Actually, I'm talking with one of my brokers, and she's telling me that she didn't receive the emails about certification. Is it possible that if she's not active, that she's a referral partner again? And
Yeah.
what would
So,
she do? What
yeah,
would she need to do?
let me ask you a couple questions. How long ago did this person start?
Probably several months, maybe like 6 months. I'd have to
Okay,
look in my
so
back office.
before certification became a
Yes,
thing in
yes,
August. Okay,
yes.
all she needs to do is log into her back office and go over to the LMS link through her back office, and then there are instructions there on LMS on how to get started in the training. Also, Harlequin, can you type this into the chat, lms.ellenwin.link? I created, it's about a 7.5 minute tutorial video, David, that
Okay.
walks you through exactly what to do. And in the very first slide, it's saying, hey, if you don't do this, you're only eligible for 10% commission rather than the 40% commission that you would be earning if you got certified. Here's why you need to get certified. Back to the representing, setting proper expectations, but now here's where you need to go to do the certification, even showing how to log in and create that first password, log in, and all that. So that
Okay.
makes it simple.
I'm typing what Harlequin's putting in the chat. So tell her to go to that link and
Yeah,
then to get the instructions and then go to her back office.
there you go. Yep. And I do all of that. It's just a walkthrough, slides, screenshots of everything. So if she'll watch that video, she'll know exactly what to do.
All right. Thank you so very much.
You're so welcome. Thank you for the question. And I'm not 100% sure. That may be case sensitive. It shouldn't be on that link. It should not be, but if it's not going where it's supposed to, try just lowercase everything.
Yeah,
It's easier to see.
websites are not case sensitive, Ellen.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Some are. Bitly links are.
Okay. All right. Thank you so very much. And thank you
Yep.
for everything
You're
you do and
welcome.
being an awesome leader.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Okay, guys. Well, if we don't have any more questions, we will wrap it up. Again, thank you, Harlequin. Great job covering the details that you did tonight. That was a great message. Appreciate you guys for being here, and hope to see you on our upcoming huddle tomorrow at 11:30. Again, we've got guest speakers all week long, so a different message every day and some golden nuggets that will definitely help you grow your business if you just take time to show up and then show out by doing what they're telling you to do. All right, take care, everybody. Have a blessed evening.